Welcome to Saturday Sadhana. It is time for our lesson, our practice, if you will. Yeah. Have we learned anything to actually practice? I still feel like we're just gazing. We're grazing the choices to learn from.
I think it's unfortunately going to take longer than people are hoping for.
Yes.
For us to have a grasp on it.
But I love the process, though.
Part of this, I don't mind that it's a slow learning process because I'm enjoying it, and it's also it's just a nice way to sort of meditate, and just sort of be present.
Yeah, and
this way to slow down. So
awakening new things in the brain, and that's always a
good
thing.
And it's just, and obviously musically, it's just interesting because it is so different. Particularly myself, where I live for notes and chords, and it's such a different world that it's like I'm discovering music for the first time, which is amazing.
Okay, so this is titled Carnatic Music Concert Trend in Comparison with Hindustani Concert. So she's here with a friend. I don't know who it is. Before I hit play, though.
Yes, please, if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button and ring the bell so you can always be alerted to what's going on with our channel.
Greatly appreciate that. Here we go.
Hello everybody, welcome to this episode of the Basic Theory of Indian Classical Music with me, Anuja K. Today we have with us Mrs. Nithya Rajendran, who has been learning Carnatic music since 25 years now and is also learning Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet for over 10 years. She has held many scholarships in classical music and has given successful concerts all over India. Her passion lies in comparing the two genres of classical music, and she has performed on this theme in many forums. For example, Indian Music Group, the Chembur Fine Arts Forum, and also Shanmukanand Hall and other forums in other cities. So Nithya, welcome to this episode. In the previous episodes, I have acquainted the viewers to the concept of rag. Is the concept of rag in Hindustani classical music similar to the concept of rag in Carnatic music? Is there any similarity or are they different?
Thank you, Anuja, for inviting me for this wonderful show. You've been doing very well so far. To answer your question, the concept of rag is common to all Indian classical music. Semi-classical, pure classical, Carnatic, Hindustani. The concept of rag is the same. It's basically a melodic structure within which a creative exercise is done by the artist. Now, regarding the differences between how a rag is treated in Carnatic versus how it's treated in Hindustani, there's a world of difference. First of all, the way the voice is used. Then second of all, the different alankars, the different ornamentations, the way it is done in Carnatic is very different from the way it is done in Hindustani. And even the rags themselves are different, There are some common rags which I do explore in my concerts, but largely the rags are themselves different, which means they are built differently, they are structured differently.
The concept of a rag was explored by Khyal Gaiki in Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet. What about Carnatic music? How does it explore the concept of rag?
To put it simply, the equivalent of a Khyal piece is known as Kriti or Kirtana. Kriti or Kirtana, roughly translated, means composition, right?
Okay.
So, Kriti or Kirtana is one of the many forms within Carnatic music, just as Khyal is one of many forms within Hindustani music. Typically, a Kriti has three portions. It has Pallavi, Anupallavi and Charanam. Pallavi corresponds roughly to the Asthai. Anupallavi and Charanam roughly correspond to the Antara of Hindustani classical music.
What about the other forms of exploring the rag?
Like I just mentioned, you have a lot of other forms just as you have in Hindustani. Some of the forms are Varnam, Padam, Javali, which are corresponding to Tumri and Tappa in Hindustani music. Then you have Tilana, which is an equivalent of Tarana.
For a common man, when he enters a classical music concert, is there any way in which he can figure out whether it's a Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet concert or is it a Carnatic music concert?
One of the very easy ways to figure out whether you're inside a Carnatic music performance or a Hindustani music performance is to look at the instruments that are being used. First thing is in a Hindustani concert, you will see a tabla, and in a Carnatic concert, you will see its counterpart in the south, the mridangam.
Okay,
and
we've seen both.
Hindustani music concert, typically you have a harmonium accompanying the vocalist. And in Carnatic music, you will have a violinist. One of the other things that you can use to figure out is...
So we've probably already witnessed that separation. I just didn't associate one with the other per se.
Right.
I just thought it was, those were the musicians that they chose for this piece, as opposed to it being maybe more specific to, northern, southern, Carnatic, Hindustani styles.
Yeah. And the violin in place of the
They're harmonium.
Oh, harmonium.
I think she said, yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's keep going. This is wild.
Interesting, because they're two different instruments for sure. Two very different instruments. So it gives a totally different,
It does.
What is the language of the compositions being sung by the artist? So if it sounds like Hindi, Urdu or Brij Bhasha, you're in a Hindustani classical music concert.
We'll have a hard time knowing that.
And if you're in a Carnatic music concert,
yeah.
typically the compositions are in one of the southern languages, Telugu, Tamil or Kannada.
Now coming to the trend of the concert, just like Hindustani classical has a typical trend, can we expect a kind of trend or structure in Carnatic music concert?
I don't know what she means by trend.
Okay, one of the major differences between Hindustani and Carnatic music concert structure is one of the major ones is the duration. Typically, Hindustani music concerts are 1.5 to 2 hours, maybe sometimes 2.5 hours. But in general, Carnatic music concerts are a bit longer. They start at 2.5 hours and can go up to 3 hours. The second most important difference in structure is the number of rags that are covered in that time. Typically in a Hindustani concert, you would cover 3 to 4 rags if you include the Thumri section in the end. In a Carnatic music concert, in 2.5 to 3 hours, you can cover up to 10 to 15 rags. So that's
a big difference
essentially
there too.
Means obviously that the pace of the concert is much higher in a Carnatic music than it is in a Hindustani music. The third thing I would like to say, a fundamental difference in the presentation of music in Carnatic and in Hindustani is in Hindustani you have a concept of vilambit and ramping up of the tempo and ending in a crescendo of druth. Yes.
See now.
That's not necessarily the case in Carnatic music. Typically the tempo remains the same from beginning to end of that particular piece.
Okay.
Now in terms of the order of presentation in a Carnatic concert, many times, not all the times, but many times the vocalist starts with a varnam. Varnam is basically a form of practice music, but it is used in a concert for many reasons. One is to warm up the voice of the artist because it takes some time to settle down, as we all know. And also...
I was just thinking that when you and I have performed many times on stage, and when you have a long performance vocally, the general rule of thumb is to have a short warm-up just to kind of make sure your voice is active. There's a sense of, a sense of freedom. Your voice is being responsive, right? But you use that 3-4 hour performance, if it's like one of those really long events, which you've done many of, especially like weddings, things like that, where you end up just selecting songs strategically early on is kind of an opportunity.
Warm-up songs, as we call them, yes.
Yes. You're still performing, but it's like, let's wait for that one a little bit later.
Yeah.
For that purpose. So there is an advantage in that scenario in the Hindustani in particular, where you're maybe starting slower tempo, a little more pace, a little, opportunity
kind of
to
building up naturally. Everything warms up. Yeah.
That makes sense for an hour and a half piece.
Musically speaking, we've sort of touched upon that, where the first part of it, they're kind of, going to the sort of improvised nature of it. It's the first part, they're sort of feeling each other out.
Kind of creating a structure to come almost.
Creating a structure, creating a mood, just creating just a feeling. And then once they lock in, and then it starts to really take off. So there's a sort of an organic part nature to it.
Yeah, here's a question for you guys in the comments, which, by the way, we appreciate all. We read as many as we can. We appreciate all of your feedback, and maybe they'll answer it here. But the ragas that are selected, are they predetermined, or is that improvised in and of itself? If Hindustani is only going to do a few, do they kind of know that in advance, or is that like a surprise that then the rest of the musicians need to adapt to? Do they need to recognize it? Same question goes for Carnatic. If there's 10 to 15, is that like discussed in advance? Is that like a plan, or is that in and of itself improvised? Curious for your feedback.
And has there ever been a concert featuring the 73 Rocks that we heard that one guy do?
Abby V.
And how long was that?
16 hours later.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That was impressive.
Because the audience also has to settle into the mood of the concert. Then you follow up with many kritis. Some of the kritis will have creative segments like Raga Alapana, which is the introduction of the rag, then Niraval and Swaram. Typically, when you present a kriti, you start off with the Anibhadha Alap. Then you go on to introducing the kriti. Raju vedale juta murare Raju vedale juta murare Kasturi ranga Raju vedale juta murare Kasturi ranga Raju vedale juta murare. This
awesome.
Is known as the Pallavi. Now there will be an Anupallavi after this and a Charanam.
I glanced over at Anuja during that, and she was doing the same thing. You and I are like kind of like following. There's like this little dance that takes place with the movement of the pitches that your body just follows. It's just so cool.
No, there's it's definitely got a kinetic energy to it. And again, just so fascinating to me, and I can't help but try to pick out the notes because what I hear definitely has some similarities to the Western scale, just as far as like there's certain note choices, but it features a lot more notes than the typical Western scale, whatever mode you're in. Me comparing, the vocals or some of these instruments to a piano, it's not anywhere near a piano. It's just I know the piano the best, so I'm trying to.
It's a tool for understanding. Yeah.
No, it's you can't compare that with a voice or a sitar or fretless instruments, because a piano is just you have sort of static, locked in notes, delineated notes, and that's it. And and even guitar, there's frets, which they're very specific notes, but at least guitar you can bend up. The closest I can get here is just like
you can lift into something.
Yeah, so I can override the fret aspect of it. And when you do that, it opens up so many possibilities of notes, because now you're not just locked into. Now it's not just a half step; it's almost infinite amount of between that, and that's what's being utilized.
And if you didn't have the frets, those little metal bars going across the neck, then of course it's fretless, and then you can still bend, but essentially the movement is actually moving along the parallel to the neck, and then that's where obviously the sounds we get from the violin and everything else, which is way more similar to what the voice can produce. But I totally get it, because it's not only what we're familiar with, it is your instrument that your life's work is on. So that's the relativity.
Yeah, I definitely hear distinct pitches, which is why I usually go to the piano. But it's obviously it's not just the pitches that's adorned with so much, like you choose ornaments.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's notes in between the notes that I can't get on the piano, but it's like so that's why it's such a magical musical form for us.
All right, let's keep going here. I think I backed it up a second.
as the Pallavi. Now, there will be an Anupallavi after this and a Charanam. The Niraval can be done out of any sentence which is picked up from either the Anupallavi or the Charanam. In this Kriti, I am going to pick up a sentence from the Charanam. Kaveri Tiramuna Pavana Magu Rangapurini Kaveri Tiramuna Pavana Magu Rangapurini Kaveri Tiramuna Pavana Magu Rangapurini Kaveri Tiramuna. Now I have established the line on which I am going to do Neraval. Kaveri Tiramuna.
I love that.
Pavana Magu Rangapurini.
Wow.
Kaveri Tiramuna Pavana Magu Rangapurini Kaveri Tiramuna. After you do this,
I love the feeling that I can't do what she just did. The practice, obviously, but I love that it's just kind of like, it's not da-da, it's a da. It just has these little dances, in and around where it is, but it never feels like you're abandoning the intention of the melody, like it's sharp or flat, when she does it anyway. It feels just so correct in
there's just a freedom to it too.
Yeah.
And having done vocal exercises, I feel like this style of singing, it has to be very therapeutic because there's a lot of. So one of the vocal exercises that is popular is called a glissando or a mean for in Indian terminology, where you slide notes, and it's first of all the sound is great, but it's also therapeutic because it's just stretching the vocal folds, and you're not locking into pitches so much, and it's very just. It's relaxing for your voice,
and it's part of the performance. Soothing. So I mean, truly, have you? Now that you're saying that, you could easily argue that Indian music, in its essence, is a better for the voice in health and flexibility and durability than most other styles of music. Really interesting concept.
Yeah.
You do a faster version of. Kaveri Tiramuna Pavana
floating in a very effortless way.
Gavurini Kaveri Tiramuna Pavana Maguranga Purini Kaveri Tiramuna Mapada Kaveri. I've entered Kalpana Swaram now. Nida pada kaveri, sari sa nida pada kaveri. Look at the application of notes. I'm not saying sari sa nida pada kaveri. I'm not doing that. There is a shake in the notes. This is what I meant by saying that the voice throw and the style is different in Carnatic. I can double the speed and you can explore the faster kalpanas. Sari sani dani sani da pada kaveri. Sari ni sa dani sani da pa ma kama pada ni sari sa ni da pada kaveri. Then you end it with a long swaram, which will go for many avartans. And that's like a grand finale of the Kalpana Swaram piece. And you come back to the Neraval line and you finish the Kriti. Then it is followed by what are known as tukdas. Tukdas are smaller, shorter, lighter pieces of music. It could be padams, it could be javalis, it could be tilana, it could be any of the so-called less serious forms of Carnatic music, which is used as the tail end pieces of the concert. And usually you wind up with a particular type of rag. Like in Hindustani music you use Bhairavi, here you use something called Madhyamavati. And you finish off the concert.
The scale Todi.
I'm going to have to hear the names of these things 1,000 more times.
I know. It's a lot. It's a lot to
It's a lot. In. But, repetition, exposure, right? I mean, we'll get there over time. I'm definitely picking up a few keywords that I'm hearing from each week a little bit. and from reading your comments, that helps a little bit too. But part of this is just the language itself is formed, the type, the names, the terms, so like all those things, and then try to relate to it to what we know. Trying to walk into this with a clean slate is the challenge, because we're
and also the, you know, like I was thinking in terms of just how you grow up in a certain culture and you're just exposed to music, whether you're a musician or not, you just hear it. It becomes sort of your relative base. So when she's comparing things to like, oh, this is how you do this and this is how you do that, because I don't have that framework of what the norm is, and I haven't been encultured with it. I'm not getting the relativity as much.
So Anuja would say, oh, this is like this, like we do in Hindustani.
And she's like, oh, I get what you're saying because I'm used to this
But we don't know either.
Yeah, exactly. So again, it's slow going, and it's going to be, just so you know, just a warning, it's going to be a combination of slow learning and just really enjoyment and fascination on my part, like for sure.
I will tell you, the comments that we see, the people that are on this journey with us, even some of you from India that just you're exposed to it, but really haven't explored it for whatever reason. And you're actually learning along with us. I mean, that just makes me so happy. I mean, that makes the channel so much cooler when it's something that's a shared experience. So I love it.
Called Madhyamavati. And you finish off the concert.
The scale Todi of Carnatic music is the scale of Bhairavi in Hindustani classical music. Could you also demonstrate the Hindustani version and show the difference?
Sure. I must mention something though, very important, is many of the times the rags that are considered very serious in Hindustani classical music form the tail end or the tukda pieces in Carnatic music. They are not considered very serious. Like, for example, rags like Behag, Bhageshri. And the vice versa is also true. So while I said Todi in Carnatic, which is the Bhairavi scale, forms a very serious centerpiece of a Carnatic music concert, its equivalent Bhairavi in Hindustani is usually a tail end piece. It's not a heavy Vilambit Khayal rag. It's used more for chota khyal or thumris or, you know, the lighter forms. So I did demonstrate the Bhairavi scale in Carnatic called Todi just now. So I will just give you a hint of what Bhairavi will sound like. First of all, the notes will be straight. There's no shaking.
That's the simplified version.
कान्हा में तो से हारी छोड़ो सारी 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 सुनो बिहारी नाही तो मैं दूंगी गारी सुनो बिहारी.
It almost felt like what I would relate to it as a modulation. It almost felt like it lifted up a half step, like the relativity.
Yes. So there's a drone basically in A, just going to the second tone or the ninth tone.
The drone, by the way, is the we know it's a tempoda. We refer to it as a drone as being a constant frequency. So a couple people have commented, they're correcting us that it's not called a drone. We're referring to the action of the instrument, not the name of the instrument. So,
right.
Yeah. Let me back that up again. That was a really interesting way she did that.
छोड़ो सारी कान्हा में तो से हारी छोड़ो सारी सुनो बिहारी नाही तो मैं दूंगी गारी.
Well, especially in the context of, if you want to stop it for a second.
Yeah.
So essentially the main scale, again, it's simplified on the piano. So that's essentially what's going on over this constant sound, the tempo. And then going from that second tone, which he was doing a minor second, changing.
Yes.
So that, in music, it's all about context and relativity. That's what creates the mood changes. That's what creates the different sonic relationships that are happening. So if you started the song like this, and you create that expectation, it's not as shocking. But when you go from, that's what creates that. It's
exactly
that differentiation, which is like, wow, and that's what's happening all the time in these rags. It's an expectation, at least in my ears, being set up as far as like a scale that maybe I'm familiar with, and then it changes it on the way down, or even in the same ascension, or the same direction that it's going, it'll change it, and that's what's creating all the various moods for me. And for me, it's so great because I feel like the options of moods, the amount of feelings that are conjured within a single scale or rag, there's more happening than what I'm typically used to. Yeah. So that's what's really special about it for me.
I agree.
नाही तो मैं दूंगी गारी कान्हा तो से हारी छोड़ो सारी कान्हा मैं तो से हारी कान्हा मैं तो से हारी कान्हा मैं तो से हारी.
That's another one.
Yeah.
छोड़ो सारी.
Yeah,
that was
so another example.
Nithya.
So
now I'm sure that the viewers know
the expectation is, it's there, right? That's
right.
Natural. And then you go into that,
just
making
lifts
that
you.
sharp. It's like the difference of mood between that, and they're so close together. It's just cool.
Significant.
I love it.
That was wonderful, Nithya. Now I'm sure that the viewers know the essence and the trend of a Carnatic music concert, and they also know how to distinguish Carnatic music from Hindustani classical music. So thanks a lot for your insight into classical music.
Expert.
For my viewers, do stay tuned to the coming episodes. Until then, take care and peace be with you.
That was awesome. As always, there will be a link to the original video that we just watched in the description below. You guys can go enjoy that and support Anuja's page as well, of course. We are going to continue our little journey into Carnatic music this coming Wednesday, November 12th. We are going to have our first live lesson, and it's going to be with, I need to say his name correctly, at least attempt, Somashikar Joyce.
Yep.
Hopefully I'm correct. We watched him with one of his students doing conical style rhythm percussion. It blew our minds. He's gracious enough to join us. So it's not on a Saturday. We'll be here next Saturday as well. But please join us on Wednesday for that live stream. Should be a lot of fun. It'll be 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. In the meantime, be sure to check out the playlist for Indian music as well as our Saturday Sadhanas. And that is it for today.
Yeah,
great job, everybody. I think.
We'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.